Well, I appreciate you being here. I know we've got a larger crowd today, not competing with the Commissioner's Wednesday call, so thank you to directors of schools for being in attendance today. Thank you to all nutrition supervisors and attendance personnel as well. We'll get started with our benefit verification review webinar today. I am Bill Byford, Assistant Commissioner of District Operations. I do oversee Round 4, Pandemic Assistance for the state of Tennessee. We will move forward with our presentation today. So we truly do want the best for all children and to set each student on a path for success in their life. We always resonate in our student readiness area there to the bottom left of your screen in fulfilling non-academic needs of all students and their endeavors for their career. Our mission statement for our nutrition team is to develop extraordinary school nutrition professionals and provide strategies to increase consumption of healthy school meals, with our two guiding principles around the P-EBT program of student outcomes and stakeholder satisfaction or comfort. We'll be talking a little bit more about that stakeholder comfort a little bit later. We want to optimize your user experience within the P-EBT Round 4, and we'll be talking a little bit more about how we're going to do that later. So the objectives for today's training, we obviously want to understand Round 4 of P-EBT this year, and in particular today, the benefit verification review. So what is that and how does it operate? I'll show you actual user screens and how they display what you'll be looking at, and hopefully build your comfort around being able to accomplish those tasks that we ask of you around benefit verification review, and give you those roles and responsibilities within that process. So, BDR Overview. So again, it's the benefit verification review. So any student eligible for free and reduced meals, whether you're an application-based student, show up on a direct cert list, you're a CEP district or a Provision 2 school or district, you will be receiving a report with all the absences which are populated on a list for you. They'll be sent to the district attendance personnel for validation of COVID-related absences. That's what we're looking for, is validation of COVID-related absences. So, attendance coding. Before the BDR occurs, you're going to see a lot of A codes, and we're going to give those to you, and you're going to validate the fact that they were actual absence codes, or maybe they were COVID-related absence codes. Maybe you used a local code. Maybe you didn't use a code at all, but you know through evidence or artifacts that it was a COVID-related absence. You will have the ability during the BDR to change that A code to a C code, which means a confirmed COVID absence. If you don't know that it's a confirmed COVID absence and you can't verify that, then leave it as is, and that would be to leave it as an A code. So really only one job here, and that is to validate the absence codes at the local level. And if you know that those were COVID related, change those to a C, and if you don't, simply keep them as an A. Let's look at some before and after screenshots here. I hope you're able to see that. So we've got Jacqueline Smith here. This will actually be a screenshot of what you will be looking at. So attendance supervisors will access these BDR reports, and school attendance clerks will review those, make any adjustments that they know of, changing A's to C's, and then they will get those back to attendance supervisors via a process, and those attendance supervisors will then export those changes back into the ServiceNow platform, and we'll move forward with issuing benefits as a result of that. So you see Jacqueline Smith. You also see the month of August and the month of September, which will be our first BDR months that we validate. You'll notice for Jacqueline Smith in the month of September, she's got some absences on the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th, and the 27th of the month of September. And you simply go to your local records and make sure that those were simply absences that were non-COVID related. And if they're non-COVID related, you keep them as is. If they are COVID related, you would change those to a C. So the after slide kind of looks like this. So I think for the example that we use, let's look at the August month. So there's Jacqueline Smith. Initially on the 25th, 26th, and 27th of August, she was absent. Whether you used a local code or whatever the scenario was, you know that those absences were COVID related, so they were changed to a C for Jacqueline Smith for the month of August. Pretty straightforward. Here's another example. So this will be for the second BDR window, because you notice the months of October, November, and December. You won't have to worry about these for a few weeks, but just giving you an example of what you'll be seeing. So for that first month, there's Jacqueline Smith. She's got some absences on the 1st and 2nd and on the 6th. Let's look at our before and after model here. So there's Jacqueline again. She's got those absences. Those were actually non-COVID related, so we kept those as A's. It looks like in the month of December, Jacqueline had some absences on the 24th and 25th, and those were actually COVID related. They didn't start out that way. They started as just true absences, and then through verification at the local level, you knew that they were COVID related, so you changed that to a C. So that's really the difference that you'll be looking at here in this process. You'll receive these reports. There will all be A's on these reports. You will see no C's. You will see no D's. You will see nothing but the A's, the absence codes. And it will be up to you, contingent upon your ability to go in and say, no, those were actually COVID related, and change those to the C. So here's some step-by-step instructions on what we expect. So the Department of Human Services will distribute all benefit verification review files into the state of Tennessee designated location, and that's to be determined. Let me give you a little background on why that is to be determined at this date. So I'm sure you've heard of personally identifiable information. We can't just send files with student names and social security numbers and state student IDs and any of that kind of information on a non-secure site. So we're feverishly working at the department right now to develop a platform that we can send you those in a secure way. So we will absolutely alert you as soon as we know exactly what that platform looks like. But we will be communicating with you, and we're actually working on that as we speak. Attendance supervisors, clerks will access their BDR exports through that secure platform. Then the attendance clerks in each building will review those absences. They'll replace those COVID absences with C's, or they will just simply leave those A's as they are since they weren't COVID related. They will make that determination at the school level. The attendance supervisor reviews each sheet and uploads into the ServiceNow portal. Everyone, especially nutrition folks, have experience with that ServiceNow portal. So you should have some comfort there, and hopefully prior to our BVRs, you're going to feel really comfortable with the ServiceNow portal as well. And then the 5th step, attendance supervisor uploads completed BVR exports into the ServiceNow portal and attests to the P-EBT attendance information is accurate to the best of their knowledge. We talked a little bit on the last informational webinar about overissuance overview. I wanted to hit the high points there again. So in previous rounds, we had some overissuance, and to mitigate that in our round 4 plan, USDA, and in conjunction with TDHS and TDOE, have developed some business rules around overissuance, and you will be asked to help us make sure that there are no errors when it comes to that. So it's a process to recover or adjust P-EBT payments and to correct errors in attendance coding or categorization of attendance coding. The director of schools or their designee will confirm any unusual benefit amounts like the examples that follow. We'll show you some examples. We sent around the director access form. We have their signature. We have the attendance supervisor there. We have the nutrition supervisor there, and any other designee that the director of schools wanted to appoint. So you may remember filling that form out. These checks are the last step in ensuring accurate benefit amounts for the students at your school. This process will begin with the first overissuance kickoff after the BDR process has begun. So let's explain the process a little bit. So you have uploaded your student information. That's a check in the box. So that's something that's already been accomplished. We appreciate your work there. We've got that for every district within the state of Tennessee now, so 100% check on the boxes there. Then we run our attendance business rules, looking for our first 5+ consecutive COVID-related absence, or the first time you had a class that was shut down for 5 days, or a school or a district that was shut down for 5 days. Remember, that's called the green light process. So we're in the process of running all that data as we speak and identifying those green light dates. And after those green light dates are established for each of the 1,850 plus or minus schools in the state of Tennessee, then past that green light date are when students are eligible for benefits that are COVID related. We'll go through that overissuance process in a follow-up webinar, which will be scheduled for a couple of weeks from now. I don't think you'll have a big issue around overissuance. It's just one last eyeball check to make sure that we have not seen any strange-looking data or anything like that. So next steps at this point are to ensure access to the ServiceNow platform. So we have, like I said, directors of schools, attendance supervisors, and nutrition supervisors who have access as we speak. There are some one-off instances in some districts where they continue to work on that access at the state level for our users out there in districts. Make sure that you look for an email from a Tom Sprague or a Ram Badam. That is an actual person. I know it's kind of scary when you receive an email with a name like that and you think, I'm not clicking on that for nothing in the world. That is an actual person. And then the third person is Rohini Paladuga. So we've got a couple of folks with some different names. I know that presents some hesitation out there as far as clicking on an email from a name like that. But I assure you, those three folks are real folks: Tom Sprague, Ram Badam, and Rohini Paladuga. So if you think I don't have my credentials to access the ServiceNow platform, go into your trash email accounts and make sure that you have not received an email from them. And if you have, click on that. You'll see your credentials that you need for ServiceNow access. If you do not, if you have done all those things and you still don't have access, by all means, send me an email. You'll see my contact information at the end of this presentation, and we'll get you set up. But I think we're really close right now for access with all three of those groups: directors, attendance, and nutrition. We are in development of a resource guide for the BVR process. That target date is the 16th of this month, or thereabouts, maybe a day or two before, maybe a day or two after, but there will be a resource guide in case you're one of those folks that want to see it on paper and read it for yourself. We will be producing that resource guide for you. when the time is right, and we'll let you know, you'll distribute those BDR files to the attendance clerks. They will do their thing on the benefit verification review, and we'll move through the process. Make sure that they can, those clerks can perform the necessary tasks within the Excel document. And I think just by looking at the screenshots here, it's really self-explanatory, but obviously if they need to see that resource guide as well, make that available for them if you would. We will, this presentation is being recorded, so we will produce that recording when we distribute this this PowerPoint webinar here, and when we do, the link to it will be right here. So I want to address a couple of other things before we conclude for the day, and I know we've been really time sensitive today. We want to give you back some of your day. Wanted to address the two previous informational webinars. So if you've got those PowerPoints or you've gone through and listened to that link and heard me present that material, you know that there was timelines involved with both of those other presentations. We had timeline slides. There were a few to be determined on there. Right now, as a result of this optimization of the user experience and developing an additional platform for our personally identifiable information for our students, we're going to take a step back, and we're not going to publish at this time a timeline. We still think we're really close to being able to perform the first BVR, but right now everybody listening to me from Memphis to Mountain City can take a big deep breath and realize that there will be no task that you will be asked to do within the next couple of weeks. We will publicize to you what that timeline is going to be for the first BVR, for the over issuance checks, but for now we are in development right now of the platform. We want to make sure that that's right, and obviously with that personal identifiable information, it's got to be right. So we want you to take a big deep breath and realize that that's what we're doing. We're working on that platform, and we will absolutely communicate with you when that is complete, and we'll get moving towards our work. We do not think at this point that it will move back the issuance timeline that is May. It will probably stack up some of these BVRs in a tighter window moving forward, but we do not think it's going to impact when students will be issued the benefits for the round 4 pandemic assistance plan for this year. One other thing that I want, well, two other things that I want to address. So we've had some districts out there since the first upload that have corrected things at the local level in their attendance package. I want to ask you that after today, the 10th, we don't want you to do that anymore, because if you think about it, if we extract that data and then you change it, it looks different when we're running our data. And when you do that BVR at the local level, you might say, this doesn't look like what we have. Well, when we extracted it, it did, but then when you changed it, it looked different. So please do not go in and try to rectify any attendance data at this point. We will be pulling that data that you've already submitted one more time, running the business rules to it. Since we know that there are districts out there that have adjusted that attendance data, we're going to pull it one more time. We're going to run our business rules to it, and hopefully nothing will change at that point. So today is basically it. Do not go, attendance personnel on this call, do not go in and change any data for August, September, October, November, December, January, February, any of those months. Please don't go in and change any data at this point. One last thing, you non-CEP districts, you non-CEP schools, any applications that you have you know, past that first upload, please upload those as soon as you get them. We need those prior to April 17th. That date is very important because if those applications get in, free and reduced applications get in before April 17th, then students will qualify for benefits during the entire year. If those applications are received after that April 17th date, those kids will only qualify for benefits past April 17th. So those are just business rules written within the state plan for pandemic assistance for this year that has been approved by the USDA. We want to make sure that any applications that are out there get submitted prior to that April 17th date, which means they qualify for benefits all year, versus any that get in after that only qualify for benefits moving forward. I believe that's it, Randa. I'll take questions and try to answer all of them.
Awesome. So our first question says, what if our director of schools says he hasn't gotten a form to specify the person who will be doing the attendance verification for our district yet? Okay.
So the only form that the director of schools probably has seen is the access form. So on that form, that is for the overissuance only. So on that form, the director can say, I want to be the one that attests to that. Or the director of schools could say, I want my designee to be the one that attests to that. And that could be the attendance supervisor, that could be the nutrition supervisor, or that could be anybody that the director of schools wants to appoint. On the benefit verification review, the attendance supervisor, the one who uploads into the ServiceNow portal, that will be the person who will attest to the attendance information, the information that is the benefit verification review where the A's are changed to C's. Or if everything just stays the same and it stays all A's, they will attest to that too.
The next question says, when we first covered this, it was mentioned that only A codes for 6 consecutive days would be sent. Is this still accurate?
So let me explain the 6+ days A codes. So there is a simplified assumption within the state plan. It was built around CDC guidance at the time that we were writing it on a 10-day quarantine. You will not see 6 A's in a row, because if a student got 6 A's in a row, the simplified assumption is that it was COVID related. So you will not see A's 6 in a row. You will see anything less than that. So if a student had 5 absences in a row, you will see that. If a student had 4, 3, 2, 1, or any combination of that, you will see those, but you will not see anything above 5 consecutive absences.
The next question says, so the list we get will be from the green light date.
Correct. So when that green light date is established, that means benefits, eligible benefits are qualified at that date. So let's say that that date was August 25th, that Bill Byford missed 5+ consecutive days as a result of COVID. That last date, just for Bill Byford, he would go back to when his absences started, but the actual green light date would be the 5th day, and everybody else would start that 5th day moving forward if they qualified for free and reduced lunch in a non-CEP district, or if you're in a CEP district, every student, because we know that it's total enrollment for CEP districts.
Should we be able to see the file that was uploaded previously in our login?
No. So what you should be doing is looking at your own attendance information, which should mirror what you uploaded. So we won't send that back to you, but you can absolutely pull it up yourself and you can have that on one screen beside you, have the other, what we've sent you on the other screen, and just simply go from one to the other and make sure that it's the same. If you've got local codes that are quarantine codes or COVID codes that we can't, that default into the absence codes when they come into EIS, those are the ones we're trying to catch.
Someone has asked if I can send the names of those who will, the names and emails who the access for snow is coming from. So I've asked one of my colleagues to send that to me so I can put it in the chat. So hopefully that is coming.
Okay.
The next question says, Power School Districts just recently got a fix that will allow our correct attendance data to get to EIS. Will you be pulling fresh data from EIS, or have you already pulled your final data set?
We will be pulling, and I'm not exactly sure when that date is. We're telling people not to change it today moving forward. We know there's been a couple of districts working to try to clean up their data that I have personally spoken to, which necessitates us having to run that data again. I would appreciate it if, and you will too, once the BVR occurs, because you'll be looking at something that doesn't look like what you uploaded. So if you could hold off on doing that at this point, we would appreciate it, and it would probably make it a lot simpler for you during the BVR process as well.
All right, I got those names and emails. Well, I got the emails, which include the name inherently, so I put those in the chat for all of the participants. The next question says, how can we not adjust our attendance data if it is not correct? We are in the process of a major reconciliation of attendance.
Okay. Well, we obviously want it correct. What we're seeking at this point is students who qualify for P-EBT benefits. So in order to do that, we've got to cut it off at some point. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't, rectify that data at another time, in another time frame. I'd be glad to talk to you one-on-one about it. Whoever sent that question in, you can call me and I'll put my, let's see, where's my information here? There's my information. You can absolutely call me and we'll discuss it, but we're asking folks to hold off, and maybe this afternoon I can talk to our IT CIO and find out exactly when they're going to extract that data. But feel free to call me on that.
And this person also said, additionally, part of our process is to change absences from unexcused to excused. Are you saying that we should stop that? So I don't know if you want to answer that here or just have that as part of the offline conversation.
Well, I think we can answer it. So obviously, if you've got unexcused absences, you're not going to see those in the BVR process. The only thing you're going to see is an excused absence. So if we pull the information today and you change it tomorrow, the file that you're going to get is going to be reflective of what we pulled on that day. So if you go in and change that stuff, you're going to be like, well, it says unexcused over here, and it's actually an absence over here. I think it's going to be pretty confusing for everybody involved. Again, feel free to reach out to me. I'll talk to our Chief Information Officer this afternoon and make sure that we know a drop-dead date on when we're going to extract the next round of data from EIS, and that's going to be an important date.
Should new free and reduced applicants be added to the bottom of the spreadsheet we sent in February, or do we send them on a new spreadsheet?
You can send those on a new spreadsheet, and that's who we're looking for, any new folks who qualify. So, yeah, you can do that on a new sheet. That's fine.
If we were using a Decode for COVID-related absences, do we change those to C or leave the code of D on students' absences?
You will not see a Decode on the BVR. The only thing you'll see is an A code. So, no, you will not change that.
Just to clarify what I think I heard, if we have kids that are pre-reduced now but weren't when we uploaded, we should upload those now, and any others we get before April.
Yes.
And just not all of them.
Correct. Any newly eligible kids after the last upload is who we're looking for at this point.
This person says EIS does not have any report that will show decodes on any report only by looking up a student. Not really sure what that's referring to.
You're not going to have to worry about decode kids because simplified assumption kids, 6 absences and above will be paid out. Any decode after the green light date is established will pay out. Those aren't the ones we're worried about. We're worried about any local codes that were used that we can't validate and that simply come to us as an absence. You can change those, or let's say Bill Byford was sick, out for COVID-related reasons, and maybe his parent came and gave a doctor's note, and that went from a unexcused absence to an absence. Those are the ones we're looking for. Or maybe that too sick to decode. Remember that decode requires a learning component. So I think I gave the example before of Bill was way too sick those first couple of days to be counted as present because he was not working on anything at home when he was out. There's probably a lot of folks, a lot of kids out there that were too sick to take advantage of the decode on the front end, but on the back end of their illness, they were coded as D because they were participating in the learning component. So we're also looking for those kids too.
Will this round have an appeals process as well?
This round has multiple appeals. So there's one that's called the reconsideration process, which is parent generated. There's the other that's just the plain old appeals process that you're used to out there in districts. But hopefully the reconsideration process will minimize the parent appeal process. That was something that was new in round 4, the reconsideration, because USDA thought that we needed to add another layer to be able to really shake the bush and make sure we found all the kids that qualify for benefit.
The next question is, will you be at the attendance conference?
I will be at the attendance conference. You can throw rocks at me and eggs and everything else, or you can come up and give me a hug.
At what point will the data be available for us to review? Will it be on the P-EBT portal?
You know, if I could tell you that date, I would have a crystal ball in front of me. So like I said, you know, we're working on that secure platform. And if you're like me, you like to see things visually, I would have taken those last 2 presentations and pulled that one slide out that had all those dates on it, and I would have had that on my wall. You can tear that up and throw that in the garbage because you don't need that anymore. We're going to communicate with you in many levels around when the first BDR will take place. We think it's going to be around the same time frame, but in good faith, I could not publish that date because I can't validate the fact that it will be 100% correct. So I can tell you that we're working on a secure platform. I can tell you why, and that is because we want personal identifiable information to be secure. And I can also tell you that as soon as that is finalized, I will report that out and give you plenty of time to gear up for it. And you will still have a rather large window to complete the benefit verification review.
For students sent to BDR, did I understand correctly that any student with 1 to 2 days with an A code will be sent to check?
Yeah, 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5 day. Nothing above 5 consecutive days will be sent to you. But any A code, whether it be 1 day or 5 days or 4 days or 3 days, will be sent to you for validation.
So to be clear, when does the district upload newly eligible free and reduced students? It was originally said to begin on March 28th.
Yeah. I believe, and I'll check on this as well, I believe you can do that now. I believe the portal is open. I'll validate that, but I do believe it's open for newly eligible students.
And will that new upload overwrite the previously uploaded data?
So no, I mean, any new data is new data, and that's all we're looking for. We're not looking for any data that you've already uploaded.
I know that you said you were going to get this, but there was another request for the drop dead date of when the data would be pulled.
I will find that out and communicate that.
The next one says if we accidentally duplicate additional free and reduced students, will that be an issue?
I don't think so, because there's that unique identifier, which is the state student ID. You know, it will recognize that there's already a student there, but what they try to do is verify, you know, the other identifiers like name and birth date and address and those kind of things. So I don't think so.
If we have been using the correct code all along, should we be good?
You should be good. If you feel like you've done everything correctly as far as the decode, you should be fine.
In the last webinar, I asked about the 2 weeks our district went staggered schedule. Our students came on a staggered schedule but were marked present for the days that they were at home. Do those days pay out? Should they be coded as D instead of present?
I really wish you'd give me a phone call on that one, because I gotta have some more information for my own ability to visualize that.
Is it best to wait and, oh, go on.
I was going to say, or send me an email, whatever you prefer.
Is it best to wait and send all students that have turned in an application after the first upload right before the deadline in April, or send multiple uploads?
No, that'd be fine. As long as we get that before April 17th, all those newly eligible kids, that'll be fine.
Okay, I want to be sure I am understanding this correctly. Are we not supposed to change absences to excused if parents turn in excuses for past dates? How are we supposed to know when it is okay to go in and make these corrections?
I will find out that date that we will extract the data, and after that, you can rectify any attendance data that you like.
Will the A code sent to us be only excused absences, or will it also include unexcused absences?
It will not include. It will not include unexcused absences. It will only include absences.
So I think the thing that I was saying earlier with the decodes and EIS is people are saying that there needs to be a report that will pull that for multiple students with the decode, because right now you can only see the decode by looking at individual student profiles.
Okay. I'm not real sure of the question there.
I think it's more of a statement to say, like, for the looking at what they're verifying. It was more of a clarification point from earlier.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Someone's asking, could the secure platform be T and share? All EIS supervisors already have folders there, and it's supposed to be secure.
You're reading my mind.
What is the last date they can upload free reduced eligibility?
You can upload it all throughout the year, but the reason why I keep talking about the April 17th date is if a student does not upload by that date, we cannot retroactively go back, and a student can't earn benefits prior to those dates. So if you turn in an application on April 20th, then that student's eligibility for P-EBT benefits starts on the 20th and after. If you upload prior to the 17th, then we can go all the way back to the first day of school in August and see if a student has qualified for any earned benefits. That's the importance of the April 17th date. It is what it is. If a kid comes to you on the 20th and puts in an application, they miss the window. There's nothing that can be done about that. If you've got applications now, and like the first question that we answered a minute ago, if you want to wait till the 16th and upload every newly eligible kid that you've received after the first upload, that would be fine. And all of those kids would qualify for benefits throughout this whole year.
So they can wait and upload all of them at one time instead of doing each individual.
Oh, yes. We would appreciate that. We would appreciate an exhaustive list instead of multiple uploads. But I think there is the ability to do that. We would appreciate one list with multiple uploads, or with multiple kids on it for one upload.
This person says, I know that I have a few students that will have A codes for 6 or more days due to flu or other illness, not COVID. Did I understand that if they have 6 consecutive A codes, they will be considered COVID?
You did understand that. So in my world, a little bit of something is better than a whole lot of nothing. And when you've got data that is not exactly perfect, which Tennessee's data is not perfect, that was the spirit behind the simplified assumption of 6+ days. We had feedback from directors of schools early on around chronic absenteeism. We will not be looking at unexcused absences. We will only be looking at absences. And there will be some kids that probably don't qualify under the simplified assumption, but we wanted to make sure that the kids, we believe that the kids that do qualify far outnumber the kids that don't. The USDA also agreed with that and approved that plan. So hence the simplified assumption.
Is it correct that we don't know when the first BVR will be due?
It is correct today.
Okay. That's all the questions.
Well, once again, we appreciate your time today. I'm going to give you back about 17 minutes of your time. You see my contact information here. Feel free to shoot me an email if you didn't get a question appropriately answered to your satisfaction. Feel free to call me personally at that 931-797-6981. Thank you, Randa, for always being there and doing a good job, and we appreciate all the districts out there, directors of schools, nutrition folks, attendance folks. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Goodbye.
Mm-hmm.